with another episode of
On the Record with
Tiffany and Kevin
on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
All right, so let's get to it because I know you want to talk about.
We're going to talk about
January 6th.
No, not yet on that. I really want to talk about culture, right? We can talk about that.
Okay, you want to talk about culture?
Yeah, because I think culture led into January 6th. And let me tell you why I believe that. Here's my thesis, right? There's really this
that people were deceived.
I'll give you a little bit of that on the deception part. But I think, could you hold up your mic a little bit there, babe? It's going down. I think a lot of this is progress versus victimization. And I want to speak directly toward African-American FBA progress versus this victimization mindset that people have, right? It's just the craziest thing. And one of my favorite writers, a guy named John McWhorter, he wrote a book called Wokeness Religion. It's very good. It's very provocative, but I think he's right on a lot of
Wokeness religion?
Yeah, wokeness as a religion.
Wokeness as a religion.
Where people, it's very provocative, but I think he's right. He's onto something here. Right. And one of the quotes that he has in that, not in this book, but another book, what he says is that many, and this is the quote, many tell us that there's this white opposition to blacks that's so unique, right? That so unique and fierce that it's useless for us to try to overcome it or compare us to anybody else. Right, that we individually, that we've experienced this uniqueness and it continued, unique oppression and opposition by white Americans, by white Americans, that somehow keeps us in a victim situation, right, that we can never overcome. And that is the mindset that people have. When you listen to people, that is the constant mindset that you see put forth. You're right.
And that's the constant narrative. Is
the constant narrative that is put forth, right? Which is completely
There's
opposite.
a difference between a mindset and a narrative. That's their narrative.
That's their narrative.
But it's meant to create the mindset.
Yeah, and it's meant to create this mindset that in my day-to-day life, in the vast majority of Black Americans, FBAs, Foundational Black Americans, it is not their day-to-day experience.
Well, their narrative sucks.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, see, I was raised with a different narrative.
Well, hold on that one. So it's one of historical perspective, right? And I think the wokeness part that I have an issue with, right, is that there is this victimizer, right? And so the issue, because I was reading this thing on specifically where they were teaching history, and the history was very accurate, right? But then at the end, they promoted victimization onto Black kids. Not, hey, this is the historical perspective that as a group of people, you've come out of this. Now look at where we're at compared to that. Right. And so that's the part of the thing. There
should be a victory feeling at the end of that.
There should be
not a victimization feeling.
Yeah. So that's what's there.
Yeah.
So how do we as Black people address in a realistic fashion, right, address the history? But then we have to move on from a progressive
history is history. Like, I don't understand why we have to look at history through any theoretical, through all of these theories. History is history. This is what happened. Look at all the opportunity we have today. Like, we literally are living in the America of our ancestors' wildest dreams. We are living in it. So let's look at what the opportunities are and seize them. What is it that I want? Yes. What is it that Tiffany Jones Smith wants to accomplish? List it out because you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it if you have a plan.
Yeah.
But if I get in your head with this nonsensical, you're a victim for life, you don't even try, then you'll never make that list. If I can get that in your head, if I can get you to believe it, that's the end.
Yeah.
I don't have to do anything else to you. I don't have to do anything oppressive to you. All I have to do is make you believe you can't.
Yeah, and that is the part that is annoying to me.
That's the part that is despicable to me.
Yeah, it's very despicable. And that is the mainstream narrative, right? So there's two opposing narratives. The one is, which you get on a lot of mainstream, is that black people on your way to work, you're going to get pulled over by a cop and shot. That's narrative one. Narrative two is that it is worse now in 2022, right, historically, for black people than any other time in history.
No.
Which is crap. Complete crap.
We're actually at a, when I look at this, it feels like a reset. Like we've got this amazing opportunity to grow businesses, to grow business districts, to grow everything literally that we want to grow, to create new things. You see black inventors all over, in every area. You see that. Now, they're not just promoting black people. Well, we need to put some black people forward. No. There's black excellence everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
But let's talk about that too, right? Because I am a big YouTube person. Tiffany doesn't listen to YouTube. I troll a lot on YouTube, right?
I read. Reading. It's fundamental. I challenge everyone to do it. But go ahead.
Okay. So, but there's this narrative out there of black victimization. Just victimization is that's one of the things that McWhorter addressed. It feels good. It feels good to feel bad about yourself, right? It does. And I am not doing a Candace Owens on black suffering.
Well, there are some things people get out of feeling bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if it feels good, but I think
they're getting something.
There's something that people are getting out of.
Yeah, and so that is what is being promoted by the mainstream media, and that is not what is happening in Black America. Now, there are challenges. There are challenges, but we have people succeeding at high levels of competence, right?
Yeah.
And that is the part that drives me crazy, is that there is being promoted, right? The people and individuals that are being promoted are the two extremes: victimization, or no, it's all in your head. No, two things can be true at the same time. You can be facing challenges. Yes, someone could have given you a microaggression, but did anybody show up in your house with a pitchfork, burning crosses, shooting, killing, or anything like that? No. That didn't happen.
We have opportunities.
We have opportunities that we've never had before.
Stuff.
Yeah. No. Things can be addressed without I wouldn't say without any issues, without the violence that historically has been associated with any type of black resistance in the system. Now, people will say, well, the cops can do that. Yeah, the authorities can do that, but there are ways that you can remedy that, even though that's not what they tell us on TV. There's the local ways, because of how our government is set up. You can build coalitions and you can address those issues. But that's the thing that's my annoyance, is the emphasis on historical, treating the past as if it's still part of the present, and making stupid statements like it is worse now in America than it was, 50, 60 years ago, right? Which is complete crap. But at the same time, right, I do believe that there are things like systemic racism that have to be addressed, but you have to address things specifically, right, in the system. And I'm sorry, I think if my neighbor doesn't like...
But, my thing is that we're at a place where we can address it. And that whole narrative that you can't is meant to shut people down so that they don't address it. So that they don't come up with ways like going into parties, like going in with a plan and saying, okay, these are the things we want, and making legislation to get those things, making the policies to get the equality that we seek.
Yeah. And the reason I'm
if we can shut you down on that.
So the reason that I'm a big proponent of studying history, right, is that if you study, and the big period for me is Reconstruction, because for me that was sort of a reset on American history. And one of the things that the great disservice that the Dunning School, and that the Dunning School is basically the lost cause. The Civil War wasn't about slavery when it was, and all that crap right there, right? But the great disservice that they did was they minimized the success that African Americans had achieved during a time that they were under terroristic acts. During a time in which
and that was intentional.
And that was intentional, right?
The terroristic acts were intentional, and minimizing what we achieved was intentional,
right?